only my close people and my close friends know about this. He called me before he committed it. And
Mm.
I, for some reason, was not able to pick that call up. I was
Oh.
busy with something else. And that was the guilt I had for many years, that I was not able
Mhm.
to be there when they really needed me.
Finally.
Yeah.
But
Good.
yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'm
Of
really
course.
excited. I'm so happy. Um, Obviously, we don't know each other a lot, but when I
Mhm.
put up the Desi Hour, I think you were one of the people that reached out and were really interested, and I really appreciate that.
Of
Yeah.
course. No, but like, I'm glad you did something like that because like there are a lot of people within our community, right? Like I've seen
Hmm.
like a lot of my friends do who go through a lot of things like every day, and they do not have like they don't want to, like there's still this taboo, right? Like concerning mental health.
Mm,
And like people
yeah.
don't want to talk about it. That's something I don't understand. I'm like it's I don't know, like it's trying to break those like break free from the shackles or something, like if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Voicing out your opinion like brings in more people. Maybe you'll get the help that you
Hmm.
need or like what you're craving for. So,
Yeah. 100%. I mean, to be very honest, I can say, like this year in January, like I was sitting down and really thinking, like, what do I want to do?
mhm.
I currently work in a tech job, but for like the rest of my life, what would be something that I would be willing to do and focus on? And
Mm,
so, I took a lot of time, and ever since I started this, I'm just really happy and I'm really excited for all the community that I'm going to build and all the people that are going to join and
yeah.
have more conversations, more listen to more perspectives. Yeah.
Glad. Oh my God, those kinds of thoughts, like those 3 a.m. thoughts, kada, like when you're in your bed and you're
Mm,
thinking like, aim chali, like ide na life, like I want
yeah.
something else in my life, and I don't know. Yeah, those thoughts keep coming up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But tell me a little bit about you. Where are you from?
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
You can detect the accent, right? So, India Ninchi, again from
Mhm.
Hyderabad. I moved
Yeah.
about like 7, 8 years ago now. Initially culture shock one day, but I think I've assimilated pretty well right now.
7 years ago ante, was it 2018?
Yes,
2018.
2018. 2018, I
Wow.
moved in 2018.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, like Achinapuru different in this country, and now it's completely different. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, I saw this country change and everything, like especially with like COVID. That's something I'll talk about, which
Oh,
really
yeah.
changed my life. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I don't know. I moved here, and in a couple of years, we went into pandemic.
Yeah. Like expectation though, like 2020 వచ్చేసింది, then it's literally the pandemic. And it's also you're kind of stuck. Like you don't know if it's
Yes,
safe, you don't know what to
yes,
do, like about job and everything,
yeah.
housing and all. Yeah.
I didn't have any family here.
Oh.
So COVID was totally unexpected. I graduated. I got this position on Matapadu Hospital, like in a clinic in Cleveland actually. It was a great
Mhm.
job. I loved it, and like I was really excited like joining like all the paperwork and type in the end. I was really excited. And then came pandemic and I lost my job. We
Mm.
couldn't go outside, we couldn't do anything. I miss home, I miss my family. Flights have been canceled, of course, and I couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't come here, and it was a dark time for sure. And one thing today I wanted to talk about is my struggle with anxiety, and that was the starting point, like where it all started. There
Mhm.
were situations before too where it started, but it wasn't as much. I was always able to like control it, control my triggers, and control myself. But COVID tarvatan like it blew out of proportion. Like it changed my life. Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say for the better, but when I was going through it, it wasn't that great.
It
No.
wasn't. Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it's like you don't know that it's called anxiety at the time.
Yeah,
Because, yeah,
yeah,
it's like you're going through something and
yeah,
you don't know what to do. You don't know if other people feel this way as well. You
yeah.
don't know if I should talk about this, something like
Yeah.
that. But, like, how was that experience for you? Like, I can tell that could probably change your entire life. Like, that there's always that one experience, and now since you're talking about anxiety, like, there's always a big shift. Yeah.
Absolutely. So my relationship with anxiety has been like the longest than any of my relationships,
Mhm.
technically speaking. But it all started like back in 2016, I guess. Until then, I was absolutely fine. Like my workout, my life, like I was always a spiritual person, and being spiritual, meditation, Chedam, or like going to yoga or something, it really helped me out a lot. But in
Mhm.
2017, like end of 16 and 17, we went through something in our college, like all of my friends and like our classmates and everything. So one of our classmates, he committed suicide. And I'm
Mhm.
not sure if I can like say that word, but like
Yeah.
yeah, that was the first brush with sudden death of a loved one. And
Mm.
honestly speaking, I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know like it was so sudden and it like and it was
Mhm.
not like a peaceful death, it was gruesome, where like they were
Yeah.
searching for his body for weeks and they found his body and it was not in a good shape. Like, and yeah, it was too much to go through. And I was, I don't know, 17 at that time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that really shifted something within me. It kind of like gave me this fear లోపల ఎక్కడో ఉండిపోయింది that oh my goodness you never know when you're gonna die like that you
Yeah.
can somebody can lose their life and
Mhm.
your memories like I don't know like right now they're fresh but after a few years maybe people would forget about you and like you never know like you're gonna leave your family behind friends and everyone and you're just gonna die.
Yeah.
I did not know how to process it back then. I took it out in the worst way possible.
Mm.
I started hanging out with this set of friends who were into, you know, s- uh, alcohol and stuff, and I used to hang out with them all the time. And somewhere I developed. So it was so tumultuous inside my head, like I didn't know what I was doing. And to sort of feel some form of emotion, I used to self-harm myself either by taking alcohol or by making impulsive decisions or
Mm.
poking myself. It was like self-harm.
Yeah. Like a
And that's
temporary solution.
temporary solution because it was so
Yeah.
tumultuous. Like you don't feel anything. It's like you're numb, like completely numb.
Mhm.
And you just
Yeah.
wanted to feel something. You don't feel happiness, anger, sadness, nothing. The only temporary solution which people can feel immediately is pain.
Yeah.
So that's when this whole concept of self-harm comes in. And that's when I
Mhm.
realized, like, oh my God, something's up, like something's not wrong. Like this, I'm not this person at all. Like I'm this happy-go-lucky person in college. Everybody used to love. Like I had like good friend group,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's when I realized like something's not right. Like I'm going through something, and I don't know what that is, but I know
Mhm.
that there's something.
Yeah.
That's when I first spoke to my parents about it. And I told them like, hey, so something's not right. I need
Mhm.
therapy. I'm gonna go to a psychiatrist, like I'm gonna do this. And I'm really proud of my parents to be so supportive in India back in
Yeah.
2016, 17. And that was like my
Wow.
lifeline kind of, yeah. And yeah, I'm looking back, like I really, really appreciate that they've been very supportive of me. And yeah, that's when I went to the therapist and I broke down. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I need help. Like, can you make this stop? And we had few sessions and she diagnosed me with general anxiety disorder back in
Mm.
2017.
Okay.
She's like, your emotions are your thoughts, your emotions are not in your control. You're either
Mhm.
thinking about the past or the future, but you're not living in the present. And after going through some tests and talking to me, like going through this therapy session, she's like, "Oh yeah, like I'm diagnosing you. You have general anxiety disorder."
Mhm.
And after a while, she also diagnosed me with panic attack disorder. So
Mm,
when my anxiety becomes too much, where I couldn't stop myself, it turns into a panic attack.
yeah.
And it's not a great place to be in, not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Like especially living by yourself and like struggling with this, it's yeah. But that was the first time I came across this fancy terms that it's called anxiety or
Hmm.
panic attacks. But until then, I just knew that when your mind is not in your control, when your thoughts are not under your control, something's going on in there.
Yeah, I can't imagine that, like, listening to it. Like, I definitely have lost loved ones, but, like, especially, like, a sudden death like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you never see that you haven't seen that coming, and
Mhm.
immediately everything changes, your perspective changes, you don't have that person in your life anymore, or it's just it shows how it really impacts a lot of things. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I'm really sorry you went through that, but I'm also really proud of you just for recognizing that something was going on, because
Thank you.
some people, when they recognize that, they just try to obviously brush it under the rug or be
Hmm.
like, oh, I'll be fine in a couple of days, it's not a big deal. But the
Yeah.
fact that you took the time to realize, okay, something's going on, and
Hmm.
if I don't take care of this right now, it eventually will lead up to something worse. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's the first thing people should realize is that when you're going through something, like you need to treat your body and your temple. Like it's not like I don't know, like a symbolic thing or a slang where people say like, oh, this is how you treat your
Mhm.
body or something. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like your mind and your body needs to be in sync for you to be healthy. So
Yes.
if you're physically fit, healthy, you're eating healthy, blah blah blah, that's not gonna change anything if you're still struggling something mentally. It's a part of your body
Mhm.
too. Like
Yeah.
you gotta fix both for your body to be synchronized. That's when you're actually healthy.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
And most people, I don't know, they don't recognize that. And it's very upsetting to see that even now, like in 2025, people still think that way is
Mhm.
that when you suggest, to your close ones or something like, oh, why don't you try therapy? Like it can help you out. And they're like, I don't need therapy. No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We are not calling you crazy or something to suggest you therapy. Therapy provides you a safe space, like to talk about
Mhm.
stuff which you can't talk to your friends or family or someone. I don't know, maybe
Mhm.
just try taking a step and see if it works out, it's great. If it doesn't, it's fine.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah,
gonna lose
that
anything,
is
maybe a couple bucks, but yeah.
exactly, exactly. I think people in India also consider at the time, but now it's more obviously people are more aware, but at the time, people think that, oh, if something is going on or if you're going to
Mhm.
therapy or they just call you, oh, she has some issues, she
Oh
needs
yeah.
counseling. Don't
Hmm.
tell anybody, just let her stay in the house. It's all
Yeah.
those kind of things. And
Yeah.
it was very embarrassing to talk about for anybody, literally.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and you don't want to tell your stuff to other people because you think that, "Oh, this is not okay, this is not normal." So you just kinda hide it in yourself until it obviously leads to a breaking point. I can
Yeah.
also relate to the fact that you're saying how when your mind and your body's out of sync, and
Hmm.
I think that was personally for me, my stage when I realized that, "Oh, I'm in my bed the entire day, and I
Mm.
don't know that I'm in the bed the entire day because I'm thinking about something else. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about other people, I'm thinking about all these judgments, I'm thinking about my
Hmm.
past experiences, and
Hmm.
I'm just not coming out of my room or not talking to people,
Hmm.
isolating. And like you kind of have that switch one day where you realize, "Oh, I've actually been in my room for an entire month. I
Yeah.
didn't come out." So
Yeah.
that's when you need to like realize, what do I need to do now? Like what are the steps?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, absolutely. That's exactly what happened with me, like when back in India. So my dad and I used to go to this gym in our community like at 4:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
It was like a practice we had for many years actually, since I was 13, I guess. So
Nice.
there was this one time like when everything started, of course, like with anxiety, insomnia is a common condition you suffer with too. Well, it's not necessarily everybody would have it, but it's usually common, like with with anxiety, like insomnia. And I was struggling with it. I would stay up all night until 4 a.m. My dad would walk in and he would be surprised, like, you did not sleep. I'm like, no, I did not. Let's just go. I just want to work out or take my mind off things. Like, give me something to do. And this would happen for 3 days or 4 days sometimes if it's extreme, but usually 3 days. And then I would crash for the next couple of days. And then the
Mm,
pattern repeats itself. And
yeah.
that's something like I realized too that because of this condition, it's affecting my life, my everyday life. I'm not able to sleep. My appetite was gone. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do
Hmm.
anything. And I would stay in bed all the time, like watching something or reading a book or something. And even the book, right? I would open the book. I would be in that page for hours, just on that
Mm,
page, my mind somewhere else. And that's
yeah.
when all these little things, right, they came crashing down onto my head. And I'm like, yeah, this is not me. Like, I immediately recognized that this is not me. Like, I was always a kind of person when I start reading a book, I couldn't stop myself. I would just finish it in like 3 or 4 hours. Like, I have to finish it. And I'm sitting there with that book for like 10 days. Like, that's not me. That was like
Mm,
immediate recognition. The other thing was my hobbies in particular. I used to be a dancer for a very long time, and I stopped doing that. It's gone poof. I stopped
hmm.
taking my friends' calls for some days, and yeah, it was, yeah, emotional turmoil, kind of,
Hmm.
and that prompted me to get the help that I need. Definitely.
Yeah. Damn. I really hate when we lose the interest in our hobbies.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it really sucks because sometimes when you look back and then you're like, oh, I love dancing or I love to do art and I don't do it anymore, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you kind of like remind yourself like, "Hey, how about you do it again?" And that's another form of like showing self-love. And I think it
Yes.
eventually leads there like, "Oh, I see the little child in me again, and it feels
Yeah.
all better again."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. It's like when you lose this, like when you do this, like losing a hobby or something, right? So it's kind of like you're losing your creative side, your the inner child, the creativeness within you, which is actually the crux of life. Like
Mhm.
you can have money, like you have, I don't know, you travel, like travel is a different story, but like you have money, like you have a job and everything good. These are need to survive. But to actually
Mhm.
live, there are things which are specific to each person, like art form,
Yeah.
dancing for me, or reading books. Like it makes me feel alive that I'm doing something for myself. Now,
Yeah.
if you're losing that, which is the creative side of you, which makes you you,
Mhm.
it kind of it's basically you're losing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just trying to fit into this societal standard and you're just
Yes.
yeah, it's like I remember when I was growing up, I liked to do art and just do dancing. Well, obviously I didn't give up dancing. But if I will talk about art, I remember people telling me, "Are you going to do this for a living? It's not going to feed you." Like, you know, and you need to
Yes.
get like a realistic something and you need to work hard enough. You need to make sure that you are living in a really high class life and like people are
Yeah.
talking about you. That's the life.
Not gonna
But
lie, that's a nation thing.
mhm, it very
Yeah.
much is. But like now look now the generation has very much changed, not just us, but like everybody's growing. Our
Yeah.
parents are growing, everybody around us are growing. Everybody's so aware, more communicative. And the fact that they're all being very supportive, like even my
Hmm.
parents right now, they're very supportive of the Desi Hour. And
Hmm.
they are also learning and hearing other perspectives and
I
understanding,
love
oh,
that.
like, yeah, like this
Yeah.
is not normal. People really feel this way. Like, I
Yeah.
wish we knew it before. But
Hmm.
yeah, like, I feel like now is a great time for everybody to realize and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely, I agree, and I love that your parents are so invested in this, and that makes me feel really good because with the change in our generation, right? Somewhere our parents are also kind of getting adapted to the current generation, and like it's not the same anymore. It's not like back in 90s or something, right? So
Mhm.
everything's changed, and it's important to recognize that, like, what do like what's your again, this is where my spirituality comes in, where I keep thinking, like, what is your purpose in life? Like, do you just
Yeah.
want to work, make this money, get a house, or like get a new car or something? Is that what makes you
Mhm.
happy? Actually, go for it if that's the thing. But there are a
Yeah.
lot of people like us who want something else from life, not just this, or like not this at all. For me, when I
Mhm.
look into my future, I don't see myself like having a fancy ass house or like a car or something. I want to see
Mhm.
myself around a beautiful family, me teaching my kids
Yeah.
how to dance, or just taking care of my mental health, my family, and still being a career woman, of course. So it's
Yeah.
like when I look into that, right, it's these little moments which I think are not significant are actually what makes the life, not
Yeah.
the extremes like, oh, I got this fanciest mansion, like I'm gonna be like, this is awesome. Like, it's not gonna
Mhm.
be awesome if your mental health is not good and if your family and like your life is not great. Like, it's still
Yeah.
an empty house and you're in that house. Like, it doesn't make it a home. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's the small shift, right? That's what I look into. And I went through a lot after coming here too for me to get to this point. Actually,
Mhm.
I'm glad I'm not 30 yet, and I recognize this. I realize this. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, like looking forward, I'm gonna do something different with my life instead of going in this rat race where I'm like, oh, chasing the American dream, or
Yeah.
good, I don't want
Yeah.
it. I want something else.
No, that's really amazing to like actually recognize that and realize because everybody's dream is different. Everybody
Exactly.
doesn't want, yeah, everybody doesn't want a house. Some people
Yeah.
just want to live in a really nice city, or maybe some people want to live in a very closed, like
Yeah.
probably in Bali, or I don't know, like travel around
Yeah.
the world. Some
Yeah.
people don't want to get married, some people don't want to get have kids, and everything is
Yes.
okay. It's your decision, and it's the decision that you make for your life as long as you're happy and healthy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And I really appreciate you saying that out loud too, because with our community, right, there's one more thing I
Mhm.
observed is the judgment did not go anywhere. Like the
Yeah.
opinions and the judgment and yeah, the prejudice.
Yeah.
Um, Not gonna lie, it's a little bit of generational and cultural.
Yeah.
Yes, but our generation should be the one that breaks this cycle, this pattern, right?
Yes.
And it's really unfortunate to say that even people in our generation I've seen have very a judgmental attitude, and they have prejudice about like certain people, and they have this premeditated like opinions about certain things. Like, oh,
Mm.
now you're married, you're supposed to have kids. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me? Like, am I like I should? Like, what are you talking about? And what gives
Mhm.
you the right to come up to somebody else and to ask them about their own personal life? Like, oh, like, when are
Yeah.
you planning kids or something? So it's small things like this, like the opinions, they're still existing.
Mhm.
Um, I would one thing about me, like I have very close friend circle. I don't have too many friends.
Mhm.
You know, like we have mutual friend, right? Like,
Mhm.
so with I have only these non-judgmental, very good people in my life, and I keep it that way.
I
I
love
like
that.
these people. Like, if you really need help, you want to talk about something. Now I take a call. Like, I pick up my phone and I call them. They're there to
Mhm.
talk about it. So I guess people should also realize that having a good quality friends is more important than like the groups or the hangouts and everything.
Mhm.
Protect your space, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's important for your mental health because I'll tell you an example. I used to be really good friends with this girl a long time ago, and we don't talk anymore. It's really unfortunate, but we're not on the same wavelength. And I had a different opinion about having kids. So my idea is like, hey, so you do realize that you don't need to have biological children to be called a mom. You can always
Mhm.
look into adoption. There are a lot of women, like infertile women, who are looking into adoption practices.
Mhm.
It's becoming a taboo because of opinions like this. Like, maybe don't
Mhm.
have an opinion like that, or maybe just don't
Yeah.
voice it out, even if you have an opinion, right?
Mhm.
And oh my God, they gave me a lot of shit for that.
Mm.
There this. few people and they kept forcing their opinion on me and they're like, oh yeah, once you have kids, like you'll change as a person. I'm like, probably yes, but doesn't mean that I should go ahead and do it. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that like I'm going to change. It's a probability right there.
Yeah.
And what they don't recognize is that with the lot of stress and everything we go through in our life right now, postpartum depression in women is pretty common. Postpartum
Yeah.
depression and postpartum is too harsh on a woman's body after having a kid. Some
Mhm.
people are not okay with it. They don't want to go through that. They have a good life. You should like people should understand that, like, for example, take me as an example. I went through a lot in my life. Maybe I'm not ready to go through that again.
Mhm.
I just want to
Yeah.
like protect my space and just live in that space, and I don't want to go through all that depression or all those anxiety and everything again. So it's just like I definitely would suggest, like, if people are watching this, like, please you guys, like, be kind. It doesn't take away anything. And just because somebody has a difference of opinion, you don't have to personally attack them or try to put them down or rub your opinions on them.
Yeah.
Listen to it, and if you feel it is valid, have a coherent conversation with them. If you do not
Mhm.
like what they're talking about, keep your opinions to yourself unless asked for it.
Mhm.
So, and that's what pains me to say is that being women, they should be more supportive of women, right? Like, I try to
Yeah.
understand that, hey, it's not for everyone, I get it. But yeah, I got so much shit for it. I'll never forget that.
Damn.
It's
I can't,
it's
yeah.
idea.
It's it's kind of harsh how people feel like they think that their opinions are valid. Like, it
Yeah,
can be valid for you, but
yeah, exactly.
it's not a common
Yeah,
validation that you can pass out to everybody, you know?
yeah.
Like, I truly agree because I think that when we've had certain experiences in our life, we know what we want for ourselves. So
Yeah.
whether it's having a child, whether it's growing up in a certain place,
Yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah.
Because originally I remember I lived in India for a while. I can
Mm-hmm.
say for about like maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first moved to India, I used to think, "Oh, it's just gonna be like anything else. It's gonna be amazing. You know, I can just be myself." But honestly, it's not
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's definitely not like that. But I think I've now looking back, I feel like I've grown so much, and immediately when I came back to America, I told my parents, "I'm never going back to India. That's
Yeah.
it. I am done. There is no other reason for me to go back to India other than
Yeah.
probably seeing family and stuff."
Mm-hmm.
But this year actually, and probably last year, I kind of felt like it's not about the place, it was just the people.
The people. Yeah.
And I need to internally make peace with it
Yeah.
because it's for myself. It's not about somebody else. And this
Mm.
year, I might actually go to India and make a visit because just because I feel like, why not? Like, I have made so much peace with myself, and there is
Mm-hmm.
nothing that can affect me, and I'm not going to give the power for
Mm.
somebody else to let all of this happen. And it's
Absolutely.
definitely just the people, their opinions, their judgments,
Yeah.
and it's about what we let us affect it. Because
Yeah.
if you let nothing affect you, you're fine as long as that is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like couple ways you can go about it, right? So
Mhm.
either you controlled your mind, you get your mind to a certain position where things like that do not affect you anymore, where you're calm under
Mhm.
pressure in like certain situations. And then
Yeah.
there's the other side of it, which is you just walk away from them.
Yeah.
I usually do the second one. Like if I feel like I would just go off on people because of the way they're doing certain things, I just walk away. I'm like, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
like right now you're not making sense. I don't want to have this conversation right now. When you stop being an ass or something, like we'll
Mhm.
revisit it sometime in future and we'll talk about it. Peace
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just walk
100%.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. I think removing yourself from that kind of environment will really always help you. Like, you don't need to be a part of that. Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
for
Just
sure.
yeah, like you don't have to validate whatever you think. You don't have to sit down there and have a debate with these people trying to convince them that, hey, this is not right.
Mhm.
They are of a certain age. They had experiences too. Like you need to learn from your experiences. I'm not gonna sit down here
Mhm.
and preach you anything. I would
Yeah.
rather protect my mental space. I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the only best thing to do, really. But
Mhm,
like thinking about it, like I know that we're always growing for sure. We've definitely come a long
mhm,
way in our healing journey. But
mhm,
like in the process of this, like what steps did you take? Like what are some or maybe some actions that you still take in your
mhm,
day-to-day, or how does your
mhm.
day-to-day look now? Like how do you feel now after all these years?
Okay. Initially when I started, I did not know how to work on it. Well,
Hmm.
my first experience with anxiety was back in 2017. Now, I would like to touch a little bit about the COVID situation I was talking
Hmm.
about. So, during the pandemic, I survived 2020 without any issues. Like, it's a miracle. I survived 2020. It was absolutely fine. In 2021, I got affected with COVID, the third variety. There were so many versions.
Hmm.
But I got affected and it was too much for my body to take. I suffered with like long COVID, the long-term effects and everything. And I had to go to urgent care, I don't know, countless times. Because my physical health was declining. It was not super great because of COVID. And that's when the whole anxiety came back. It
Mhm.
started branching off into different zones. Like it came back and it's like, oh hi, you miss me? Like I'm back.
Yeah.
And it took like a worse turn after this COVID scenario, whatever I had. And I was living by myself at the time, and I was living in North Carolina. And I developed panic attacks. Every time I would try to sleep, it's called nocturnal panic attack. So every time
Mhm.
so usually when I'm awake, I'm not vulnerable. So like I try to
Mhm.
be like Hela Chapali, like I'm like good. I'm like strong because my
Yeah, you
mind's
try to
working.
keep it all
Keep
together.
it together, yes.
Yeah.
But when I'm sleeping is when I'm at my worst, right?
Yeah.
That's when I would have panic attacks in my sleep. And
Mm.
I would wake up from the sleep with a feeling of somebody trying to choke me. My arms
Yeah.
would start to hurt. It used to feel like a typical heart attack. And that's one of the
Mhm.
symptoms of panic attacks, right?
Yeah.
And I visited the ER. I used to go to urgent care. I'm like nothing stopping. Like I feel like somebody's like not letting me sleep. I couldn't sleep. I got so scared. At 3 a.m.
Mhm.
or something, I would call my parents in India and I'm like, just keep talking to me. I'll try to get some sleep. They keep
Yeah.
talking to me and then like 10 minutes later, I would wake up again. So it
Mhm.
became too much. I was looking like a panda bear with all these dark circles and everything. I couldn't
Mm.
sleep and do nothing. And that's when I'm like, there's something more to this, more to the anxiety. And I think it's
Mhm.
worsening. Like I need to do something about this. And
Yeah.
back in India, I was never into accepting like medications for anxiety.
Mhm.
And back then, I was prejudiced myself that if you take
Mhm.
pharmaceutical help, you would get dependent on it, or
Yeah.
it would ch alter your brain chemistry, or it would change your life. That's what my thought process at that time was.
Mhm.
But after I went through all of this, I went to the hospital, I spoke to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like you have general anxiety disorder." I'm like, "I know." And they're like,
Mhm.
you have panic attack disorder. I'm like, I know that too. Like, what do you suggest? And they're like, okay, like go to therapy. Before that, like you're not gonna survive if you're like this. You need this B12 shots and everything. Like you're kind of like starving yourself. This is not good. And she put me on anti-anxiety meds for the first time.
Mm.
That decision to go ahead and take those meds changed my life. So many people still have this prejudice that taking pharmaceutical help is going to affect you. Trust me on this, like it's going to help you. They're
Okay.
there to help. Yeah. And if something
Mhm.
doesn't work out, you talk to your doctor, explain your symptoms, and be like, "Hey, so I'm not okay with this. Maybe they change the power of the medicine, or they change the medicines or something." But
Mhm.
pharmaceutical help definitely helps. So I
Mhm.
was glad I went ahead and I got it, and from then it got under control. Very much so. I was on them for about 6 to 8 months. And I was sleeping well. I was eating well. I used to go out. I used to enjoy like my anxiety it went down. And and then I started going to therapy and I met a really good therapist. She understood. my connection or my relationship with spirituality and mind control. So there are multiple
Mm,
ways therapists work, right? Like it really depends on how people take things.
yeah.
So me being the typical Telugu person, I was extremely spiritual.
Mhm.
I still pray. I still, well, I'm a Kuchipudi dancer. Like the art form is like a prayer.
Mhm.
So being extremely spiritual, I found this therapist, and turns out like, she was spiritual too, and she started this therapy. Like we took some actions where she started making me understand things from a spiritual perspective. Where she's
Mm,
like, so these are your triggers. Like try
yeah.
to identify your triggers when you feel disconnected from yourself is when your spiritual energy is not in balance. Try to
Mhm.
identify triggers, like when does that happen that you feel disconnected with yourself? So
Mhm.
she took me in the path of spirituality, but it was absolutely therapy, but she took this zone, like this path of spirituality. That changed a lot of things within me. That's when I started recognizing this pattern of triggers.
Yeah.
That's something like the first step people should take is just sit down, take a deep breath, try to identify your triggers. What causes the
Mhm.
anxiety? For
Yeah.
example, if I talk about my triggers, the changing
Mhm.
seasons are one of my triggers.
Mm.
So with this gloominess, or if there is too little sunlight or something, right? That's one of the trigger. It makes me lethargic. And
Mhm.
that's when if I don't have anything to do, like productive, that's when my mind starts to wander off. So
Mm.
when I recognize that this is happening, especially during the winters, and up here in North
Yeah.
is horrible, and
Mhm.
that's when I realize like I have to do something. So I start picking up a new hobby or something which keeps me occupied. Or I call my
Mm.
friends, just talk to them. Call your friends, call your partner, or like just call family. Talk to
Yeah.
people. Pick up a new hobby if you don't want to go outside. If you're ready to go outside and this goddamn cold, dress up, go outside, and like I don't know, is it like this winter lights and everything? So you need to identify your triggers when they're happening,
Mhm.
and the triggers are not consistent. They keep
Yeah.
changing. So this is controlling anxiety is not like a one-time process. It's something you
Mhm.
need to, kind of follow through like your whole
Along.
life.
Yeah.
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 But once you start doing that, it becomes much easier. It
Yeah,
becomes easy. Yeah.
damn. I like how, like, your therapist put, like, especially with you being so connected to the spiritual energy and
Mhm.
stuff,
Mhm.
I like how your therapist, like, helped you in that way by, like, including mental health and the spiritual energy together and having you
Absolutely.
see that perspective.
Yeah.
Like, because, I wouldn't say, like, I can fully relate to that, but what I can
Hmm.
say is that, so I'm Christian,
Hmm.
and, like, when I was going through certain experiences at the time,
Hmm.
which wasn't, related to, like, mental health at all, it was just going through a very tough phase,
Hmm.
and I remember that I just had no one to rely on, like, not even I didn't feel like I could talk to family or anybody, and
Hmm.
so I would just read the Bible at the time.
Yeah.
And for me, there were just like I would just read it every day, or I would just pray every day.
Hmm.
And I think eventually, sometimes I kind of get lost and stuff. But
Hmm.
I remember doing so many prayers and making sure that I'm constantly praying and reading a verse of the day. Until day, I still do that.
Hmm.
And now, after coming back, these past 5 years, I see all my blessings, all my prayers answered,
Yeah.
and I keep telling my friends that you don't understand how much you mean to me because you are a blessing. You are
Yeah.
a prayer. You were a
Yeah.
part of my journey. You're a part of my healing. And like, even I remember, like, asking, like, "Hey, whatever this is, I'm not asking you to, like, fix it immediately. I'm asking you to see me a way and guide me along the way."
Yeah.
And it has helped me see so many perspectives and understand that whatever energy it is, some people don't believe in it, and it's fine,
Mhm.
but whatever works for you, I
Yeah.
personally believe that spiritual positive energy is always out there, and you need to
Absolutely.
attract it.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying with climate change, it can feel so dark, but if you just
Yeah.
put a really nice music and lit a candle or just have a movie night
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
you're great, you're doing amazing, and it's just these
Absolutely.
certain activities that you try to do to light up your entire day or your
Yeah.
entire week, and literally your entire life. It's just those tiny
Mm.
stuff that you do. And,
Yeah.
like, also you talking about emotional triggers.
Mm.
Like, if I really look into that, I kinda see it, like, I like how,
Mhm.
okay, so this is a trigger, I see it, now what
Yeah.
should I do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, when you notice the triggers now, I think it's easy for you to not be so confused and lost, and
Yes.
instead be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so this is my trigger, what should I know what to do now. Oh, so
Yeah.
this is what I do, XYZ, these are the steps, and I'll be fine." I
Yeah.
think that's like a navigating path for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It depends on each person too, right? Like how you take it.
Mhm.
For example, me, I'm a non-confrontational person. Like I don't like do that
Mm.
because for
Mhm.
me, fighting with my loved ones is a trigger. Like
Mhm.
having difficult conversations, great. But this face off, like the fighting situation, right? That's a trigger, like a really big trigger for me. Like it takes me to like really dark places. So what I try to do, again, spirituality comes in here. I'm glad you mentioned that, by the way. Like when I love it that like you've been consistent with your prayers and they've been answered.
Mhm.
People like if you're not religious, I get it. You wouldn't probably understand this, but if you're not religious, you also need to understand the consistency there is the key.
Mhm. Yeah.
Consistency and discipline, putting out positive energy and asking for positive energy is the key,
Mhm.
and that's non-religious people could identify with.
Yeah.
But me being spiritual, I started this back in 2017. I used to read Bhagavad Gita. So it
Mm.
was not me trying to rely on God or some figure like that. It was more like understanding a way of life.
Mm. Yeah.
What are some things that I can do which is going to make my life easier? Simple.
Yeah.
And one of the preachings of Bhagavad Gita is about control over your mind, your emotions. That's something which absolutely changed my life once I started practicing that. And this is one more thing I would like to point out. That spirituality doesn't have to associate with any religion, by the way. Spirituality is something which is kind of liberating, like freeing your soul from all the worldly problems, like all these
Mhm.
materialistic things you see, free yourself from that, get your mind under
Yeah.
control. And it's really hard to practice. Like I'm
Mhm.
trying and it's working like with certain regions and some in certain situations I still go off, but
Mhm.
it's an amazing practice to have. And that's one thing which really helped me with my anxiety. Is
Mhm.
every time you're anxious, just sit down for a second, remind yourself that this is all in your head and past is gone, you can't change. Like no matter you cry, you hurt yourself, no matter what you do, you cannot go back in time.
Yeah.
And whatever happens in future is out of your control. Many people, one thing I observed is their need for control over their lives.
Mhm.
Let me tell you something, we do not have control over our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only control you can personally have is control over your mind, your emotions.
Mhm.
Master that, you mastered everything in life.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely love that. Like, I think it's all the self-love, the self-talk. Like,
Yeah.
you need to do the mental prep and you
Yeah.
need to talk to yourself in a very positive way to do anything. Yeah, to like
Absolutely.
lead forward, to be put in a situation, you need to tell yourself, hey, I'm not going to let my emotions control me. I'm going
Yes.
to act in this certain way or be
Yeah.
in this certain way. And there it's giving your mind the power, and it's mostly a positive power. So it's kind of
Yes.
like that. I can, yeah, I can definitely see that. But yeah, the world is always like, you never know what's gonna happen and you can't
Yeah.
control your life for sure. Like
Absolutely.
everything's unpredictable. You can't always try to be so perfect because
Yes.
it's literally the beauty of literally understanding how beautiful it is to be imperfect because you understand that
Yes.
you're growing and
Hmm.
everything's going to keep changing. So even if you want to do this certain thing at some point in your life, maybe make sure it's more of your morals and your values instead
Yes.
of like aiming for a goal, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever happens in life,
Mhm.
do not ask for the, do not have this need for this control because nothing is in your control. Just let it
Yeah.
go. Like if things are meant to happen, they're gonna happen. You can't stop them.
Yeah.
All you
I
can
like
do
that.
is be the good version of yourself. That's all you can do.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But no, this was amazing. This was so beautiful. I like how we like unraveled literally talking about how we realized anxiety and like all these certain triggers in our life and
Mhm.
to unpacking them all by ourselves
Yeah,
and realizing that we needed help. You know,
absolutely.
taking
Hmm.
those steps, getting out of bed. Like I was in bed and I was like, okay, maybe how about I go see some sun today? And that one day probably changed my entire life. Like it's
Yes.
that one step. Like you
Yeah,
decided to go see that one person and ask for help, and it has
yeah,
changed your entire life. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But what is one thing that you would tell for someone, anyone that's going through this right now or struggling? Or
Mm.
just in general, like, what do you wanna say?
I'll give you an example of I do this even now is that when my friend
Mhm,
passed away back in 2017, not only my close people and my close friends know about this. He called me before he committed it, and
mhm.
I, for some reason, was not able to pick that call up. I was
Oh,
busy with something else. And that was the guilt I had for many years, that I was not able
mhm,
to be there when they really needed me.
mhm,
And I've been following this, I've been practicing this since years. Now, when my friends text me that I don't feel great, I would like to talk, I drop everything and I give them a call. I'm like, I'm right
mhm.
here, spill.
Yeah,
So being present for your friends and family or like your closed ones, letting them know that you're here and you're creating a safe space for them to talk about this changes a
mhm,
lot of things. It's okay if you're feeling a certain way. Like sometimes you try to bottle up things, like put them within yourself. You're like, I don't want to bother people. That's my biggest problem. I'm like, I don't want to
mhm,
bother people with this. They have enough problems in their life already.
mhm.
And slowly I started recognizing that they don't feel that way.
Yeah,
That's my internal personal thing. My friends don't feel that
mhm,
way. They're excited to have the call and talk to me and like help me out, but it's my internal thing. Sometimes like
yeah,
we need to let go of our prejudices or like our opinions or like what's gonna happen. Oh my God, like they'll think certain way about me. If they
mhm.
are giving you a hand, if they've been consistent in your life, and if they are really trying to help you out, please reach out. Talk to
Yeah,
people. That's the first step in your healing journey. Is like
mhm,
lean on to your closed ones. Like they're close
mhm,
to you for a reason, right? So lean on it. And those are the kind of
mhm.
people you keep them close in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
damn. But yeah, this was beautiful. I like how you definitely mentioned to like give the reassurance, tell people that I'm here for
Oh,
you, making sure
mhm,
you're kind. And like the let go theory, I think it's kind of also like the Mel Robbins theory where she says like let go, let them do it, let them be whatever it is, and
mhm.
it doesn't change your worth for sure.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No, yeah, but thank you. Thank you so much, Priya. This was so beautiful. Like I loved how we talked about so much right now. I feel like I got to know you more personally and like
Likewise, actually, I'm glad you spoke about like your experiences. I'm like, so I wanted to ask you one question.
mhm,
What what was one experience in your life which you always keep in mind, like before when you started this whole the Desi art journey, and be like, hey, so this
yeah.
experience like totally changed. Like we should not
Mhm.
go like we don't have to go into any
Yeah.
details or something, but like yeah,
Mhm.
what's something which prompted you like we need something like this? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked because I was a child who would never speak up even if I wasn't in fault.
Mm,
I internally was too kind that I didn't even want to say a word. I felt like if I say a word to you right now,
mm,
it could go really bad. Like if
mhm,
we could end things, it could turn out to a really bad relationship, and I don't want that. Whether it is
mm,
family or friends, I would just keep it to myself. And if I'm actually lashing out, that means it's a really big thing. So I don't even remember, like, I probably never even, like, raised my voice or anything, and there were just a lot of accusations, a lot of things
Mm.
people just said to me, and I just sit there and just kept watching people do everything, and I didn't have the power. And
Yeah.
it's very easy, especially when you're in India, for other people to believe what other people are saying. They like the drama. They like the
Culture.
gossip.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt very judgmented, and I kind of realized, like, okay, so whatever I'm gonna say right now, it's
Mm.
not gonna, nobody's gonna believe me.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this one time I told somebody the truth.
Mm.
And when I told the truth, they didn't believe me. So it doesn't matter. It
Mm.
doesn't matter whether you tell them a lie or the truth. People
True.
are
Yeah.
just gonna talk about you, do whatever they want regardless.
Mm.
And I think people need to really understand being kind to one another is so important. You
Yeah.
don't know, because of of this talk, all of these things that you have done or said, it can
Mm.
really impact another person's life. And
Absolutely.
I really want to make this Daisy hour about talking to one another and just
Mm.
sharing perspectives. And when another person listens to this, it can help them. And that's probably my only goal, my end goal here.
Yeah.
I want people to hear it out and probably feel related, and hopefully it changes their life. But
Yeah.
it's mostly about breaking the barrier and understand that this is normal. We can have conversations like this and making
Yeah.
it a safe space for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
I'm so happy. Thank you so much. And this
Of
was so
course.
beautiful. This is going to be a
Absolutely.
beautiful episode, and I
Mhm.
can't wait. Yeah.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah. Good. We'll keep in touch.